I'm going to be honest with you. These mindset shifts that I'm about to break down genuinely changed my life. And I know I have the tendency to be a tad dramatic, but this time it's with good reason, because these mindset shifts changed my life and I have a feeling they might be able to change your life too. So let's just jump right into the top 5 mindset shifts that I've experienced that have had the biggest impact on my life and my career as an entrepreneur and a full-time content creator. Also, this video is brought to you by Uscreen. More on them later. Okay, so mindset shift number 1. And also please be aware that I'm going to throw in some book recommendations when relevant in case you want to continue your development after this video. Okay, so the first mindset shift that I actually quite recently experienced was basically the shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Now, what this is referring to is the idea that there's 2 types of people in the world. And I usually hate those kind of phrases because I'm like, everyone, the world is nuanced. Like, surely there's not just 2 different types of people. But for the purpose of this video, let's go along with this idea. There's 2 different types of people in the world. There are people who have a fixed mindset, and they're usually people who believe that everyone is either born with the ability to do something or not. So for example, let me take you back to like school days, right? And you would have those few people in your class who were really, really clever. And I don't know about you, but I used to think like they were just naturally clever. I didn't used to think that I could become that intelligent. I just thought like they were just born with a gift of intelligence. That is an example of a fixed mindset. Now, people who have a growth mindset tend to believe the complete opposite. So they don't look at someone and think you were just born with this skill. Instead, they think if I trained hard enough or if I invested in my self-development enough, I might be able to get to the same standard as you one day. Like everything can be learned. Now, even though I've said that this is a recent mindset shift that I've experienced, I think it's more that only recently I've identified what that shift was. Because truly, I had that mindset shift years ago when I was at school. I was always like an average student. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. I got a lot of B's, some C's, like in my GCSE, right? And then when I moved on to my A levels, which is like the level above, like the qualifications you get before you go to university. When I moved up to that level, I remember my first batch of grades weren't very good. And I remember I got a D in history and I was really upset because I needed a higher grade in order to get into university. Now, the next year of my A levels and my final chance to bring that grade up, I decided that I was going to try harder. I had this switch from a fixed to a growth mindset without even realizing, because suddenly I thought to myself, wait a minute, my friends who are so clever and getting these grades, I'm pretty sure if I worked as hard as them, I could get similar grades. And I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, duh. But at the time, it wasn't that obvious. And I'm willing to bet there's something in your life, some kind of example in your life that can relate to this. And the answer is staring you in your face. If you tried as hard or if you invested as much time in your self-development as someone else did in terms of a specific skill, you could probably get to their level too. Anyway, I invested in my learning. I like tried really hard for like the first time in my academic career. And I ended up scoring 100% on my A-level history exam. And it is still to this day one of my biggest achievements in the world, because that is a written exam, guys. It's a written exam and I got 100% on it. So that was an A star and it brought my overall grade up to a B, because obviously I got a D the year before that. Anyway, academic achievements aside, that was a really big turning point in my life, because I came to university with this growth mindset of I could actually do anything if I really try hard at it, right? And I ended up, I'm not going to sit here and like read off all my accolades. Just know that uni was a successful few years for me, especially when you compare it to what I achieved or didn't achieve in previous stages of my school life. So there's a belief that I now have and that I really want you guys to experience too, where you truly believe that you can do anything. And I know that sounds like a corny after school special message. And I don't mean that as in like, oh yeah, you could just roll up your sleeves and fly a plane tomorrow. That's not what I'm referring to. It's more the idea that if you really want to learn a new skill, you can learn it. There aren't people who are just born with this ability to be really great content creators and you're not. There are people who care more about it. So therefore they invest more of their time and energy into it. And that usually results in them creating better content. You are able to do the exact same thing, if that's what you want to do, if you put the same level of time and effort in. I almost didn't start a YouTube channel because I didn't know how to edit videos. Like I just learned. No one's born with the ability to edit videos that I'm aware of. I just learned how to edit videos. So think about ways that might be manifesting itself in your life, because I'm willing to bet if you really think hard, you'll realize that actually there are a few things that you have a fixed mindset on. And if you switch over to a growth mindset, that can make a huge difference to your life and your future. By the way, book recommendation is called Mindset by Dr. Carol S. Dweck. I'm actually listening to the audiobook and I basically play like half an hour worth of the audiobook every morning when I wake up, and it really puts me in a good space for the rest of the day. Okay, so my next mindset shift is all about the power of the small decisions that you make every single day. A book I recommend for this one, if you really want to dive into it, is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. But basically, what I'm referring to is the fact that, especially if you're a content creator or an entrepreneur, the small decisions that you make on a daily basis really are the thing that's going to lead to you experiencing any form of success, right? The thing is, we have become a society, I think I can speak on behalf of every single person in society right now. We have become a society who are quite obsessed with instant gratification. And, you know, the world of social media really hasn't helped with that. If you're a content creator, you have probably seen a handful of other content creators start their journey on Tuesday and blow up by Friday. And then you see that happen and you're like, well, surely if I start creating content now, within a few days, I'm going to see huge success, right? These kind of stories have programmed us to believe that we are owed some kind of success or gratification like that. We start to believe in this idea of overnight success. We start to create these narratives where someone has a sudden burst of motivation and willpower, and then they see success on the other side, right? We hear about all these people achieving these incredible things, and the narrative that we create, or the one that we're told, is that they've had a light bulb moment and thought of this great idea, or they pulled an all-nighter and the next day they were famous and rich beyond their wildest dreams. The truth is though, guys, that's not usually how it happens. And when it does happen that way, it's incredibly rare. It's not a strategy that we should be focusing on or relying on. Instead, what we need to do is realize the importance of the small decisions that every successful person made the years running up to their big break, because it's those small decisions which actually led to their success. Let me give you a small example. One based on a content creator, because that is who I am, that is what I do, and usually a lot of creators watch my videos. So I uploaded my first ever YouTube video in November 2020, which is wild because my 3-year anniversary is coming up. So that is when I started my channel, and that is when I started this brand and this journey, right? Now, the 6 months that followed that were pretty excruciating. I was working a full-time job. I had this YouTube channel. I also had other businesses as well. So I was really, really pushed on time. I was editing my own videos, all that kind of stuff. There were several occasions where I wanted to miss an upload. Like, let's take January 2021, for example. Let's say I didn't want to upload any content that month, because at that time, and I checked, I had 108 subscribers. My videos were probably getting 10 to 50 views per video. It would have been very easy for me to make the decision not to upload a video during that month, because at the end of the day, no one was watching it, right? It would have been very easy for me to miss an upload. I didn't though. I continued to upload consistent content every single week. And just a few months after that day, I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And literally within weeks of that, I hit 10,000, and things just kind of snowballed from there. Would that have happened if the small decisions I was making on the run up to that date were to skip uploads? No, it wouldn't have. It seemed like a small decision at the time, but it had a compounding effect, and it actually led to my success later on. So think about those small decisions you're making every day. Maybe it's in the morning when your alarm goes off and you snooze and decide actually you're going to sleep for another hour. Maybe it's when you're putting your gym clothes on and then you're like, oh, I can't bother to go, and then you take them off. I actually did that the other day. How ridiculous. I got literally in my whole gym gear, and then I was like, no. Those are the small decisions that we want to avoid. I still do it sometimes. No one's perfect. But when you're aware that you're making those small decisions that have a compounding effect, it becomes a lot easier for you to stop making them. All right, so this next mindset shift I'm calling start with the end in mind. And if you have read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, then you would have recognized the name of this mindset shift, because it is one of the 7 habits. So there you go, another book recommendation for me. Now, I love this habit because what it's essentially saying is when you begin anything in life, begin it with an intention. Figure out what the end result is of whatever this is that you're doing, and make that really clear so that you have a real guiding light that you're working towards. This is super relevant when it comes to entrepreneurship, content creation, growing on social media, etc. When I started my journey on YouTube back in November 2010, as we've already established, it only took me a couple of weeks for me to realize that I actually loved it, and this is something that I wanted to do for the foreseeable future. So the second I made that realization, I was like, okay, so what's the end goal here? And at the time, my end goal was that I was going to build a business that would grow to the point where I could leave my full-time job and just do this full-time. So I had that end in mind when I had started my journey, and that massively impacted how quickly I was able to get to that point. And spoiler alert, I quit my job within 7 months. I always forget if it was 6 or 7 months. Within 6 or 7 months of me uploading my first ever YouTube video. which is insane. So it happened pretty quickly. And how did I do that so quickly? Because I was starting my journey with that end goal in mind. So I was making decisions that were going to get me towards that end goal quicker. So I was doing things like listening to my audience and creating products that they would like. I was continuously trying to learn how to improve my content. I was prioritizing my YouTube channel over other things in life. These are all things that I wouldn't have done if I didn't have that end goal in mind, because why would I, right? Now, I know a lot of you might have the same end goal in mind that I did. You might want to build your audience up to the point where you can do this full time, or maybe you want to build it up to the point where you can have a steady second stream of income alongside your full-time job. If that is the case, then I need you to listen up, because I really want to talk to you about a video membership platform called Uscreen. So Uscreen is a video membership platform which allows you to transform your video content into a way to earn consistent income. And it does that by giving you the tools, the features, and the support that you need to create your own video membership site, or even your own video membership mobile application that requires your audience to pay a monthly subscription fee in order for them to get access to this exclusive content. So this is an incredible way for you to start to earn consistent income from your video content. Now, there are a few different reasons why Uscreen is a really great platform for you to use in order for you to reach your end goal, right? The first is that it allows you to essentially own your community. And what I mean by that is when you create a video membership using Uscreen, you actually give yourself the ability to connect with, contact, and communicate with your audience whenever you like, because the data that you collect from your audience, for example, their email addresses, will be stored within Uscreen's site. So it basically gives you this ability to speak directly to your audience without having to worry about things like pesky algorithms. Have you ever heard anyone refer to your audience on social media as rented? Because what they're basically saying is if you build an audience on social media only, then you never truly own your audience, because you're essentially relying on a social media app to share your content with them. You don't actually have any control as to how many people get to see your content. It's really down to the social media site that you're using. In addition to this, Uscreen is the only membership site which allows you to seamlessly blend your video content alongside your community posts and your chats. Now, this is incredibly important if you want to build a thriving community, which I'm sure that you do, because a lot of the time when you attempt to do this, if there's not a strong community element there, if you don't have the ability to foster connections and conversations through chats and community posts in a way that just fits with the rest of your membership site, then you'll end up creating a site that doesn't have a strong community. And if there's no strong community, then it's really hard to retain members. So utilizing Uscreen's built-in community hub will massively help you with this. Uscreen also gives you the ability to transform your video membership site into an app, which basically means you can have like a membership in your pocket. This is one of my favorite elements of Uscreen. So basically, when you use Uscreen and you create your own mobile app, you're giving your audience the ability to bring your content along with them on a day-to-day basis, and even directly speak to your audience via their mobile phone by using different features like push notifications. There are so many different creators who have really thrived using Uscreen. Some of my favorites are Yoga by Adrian and the Filmmakers Academy. I'll put some screen recordings on the screen so you can have a look at what their membership site looks like. Uscreen is the only platform specifically built for video creators who want to run memberships. So if that is you and you're looking to unlock some recurring revenue, then head to uscreen.tv. I've also included a link in my description. All right, so another mindset shift, and this one, honestly, I'm still struggling with to this day. I'm just gonna be honest. The learning never stops, ever. No matter how good you think you are at something, no matter how much you think you know about something, the learning genuinely never stops. And there's a few reasons for this. The obvious reason is that things change, things develop, especially if you're in a niche like mine. Social media literally changes every day. But also, you will never get to a point where you have heard every perspective, where you have looked at everything from every single angle. The more you know about your niche, the more you know about the social media platform that you're trying to grow on, the more you know about the industry that you work on, the better. Whilst there might come a point where you know enough to thrive at the level that you're at, there will never come a point where you know too much. That's like the main message I want you to take away with you for this point. There's no book recommendation here, apart from maybe all the books, because we're talking about continuously learning. There's no book recommendation. It's just a statement. The learning never stops. All right, so the final mindset shift is kind of all encompassing. And if you've gotten to this point, I'm thinking you might have already had this mindset shift, but I just need to double check, right? And this mindset shift is the belief that your mindset really is everything. I did not believe this for a while. I used to see mindset stuff as like woo-woo, airy-fairy, intangible nonsense, because I am someone who is very like practical. And if you've watched my other videos, you know I'm like this. Like I don't believe in just someone teaching me a concept. Like, I want you to break down step by step how I'm going to achieve something. Like, I want the granular steps and the detail behind something. So when I first started to read about the concept of mastering your mindset, I struggled because it wasn't tangible enough for me. And I just started to think, this isn't stuff that I should be dedicating my time to. I need to get back at it. I need to go film some more videos, right? How I got past that is I started to read a lot more self-development books, which would mention mindset. And then I would go down the rabbit hole of actually learning more about mindset by reading specific books that are dedicated to different concepts, right? The big catalyst for me though, was when I started to embody the different concepts that I had been learning, because then I started to see a change. And once you experience a positive change as a result of something that you're doing, it becomes a lot easier for you to continue doing it. The change that I started to experience wasn't even directly linked to my business growth or my income or anything like that. It was more how I responded to things in life. When things didn't go well, when I did something wrong, right? Which I don't even really see. Like, everything I do wrong now, I don't even know if I see it as doing something wrong. I feel like I just see it as like a test. Like, yeah, I did it that way and it didn't work, right? So now I'm going to do it the other way. But that, just how I explain that, is such a direct result of me focusing on developing a healthy mindset. Do you see how like my outlook on certain things is different now? And someone said to me once, when you start to really invest in your mindset, people expect there to be this big result. It's like, oh, I focused on my mindset for 6 months and now I'm rich beyond my means. When in actual fact, that's not what it is. What happens is that you feel better about the things that you're doing. So even if my success was the same pre-mindset work that it is now, which it isn't, by the way, my business really started to grow when I started to master these things. But even if that wasn't the case, the difference in how I would feel about my progress, in how I would feel about my mistakes, in how I would tackle life and how I would feel on a daily basis, in my health, like in all of that, would be dramatic. So in no means am I saying that if you don't work on your mindset, you won't see success, because you might. The success won't feel as good though. Just going to be honest. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's all about the 5 things that I feel like every content creator should know. And it's all based on a few things that I learned after spending a week with some of the biggest content creators in the world. Like, we're talking 24 million subscribers plus. Mental. Also, if you want to check out Uscreen, which I'm sure you do, please head to uscreen.tv or check out the link in my description. Thanks so much, guys. Can't wait to see you in my next video.